Thank you very much. Distinguished participants, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, it's my great honor and pleasure to be here today to present the Indian Ocean Tsunami Early Warning and Mitigation System application for future sustainable aquaculture. First of all, I'd like to express my sincere appreciation to the organizer for inviting me to this symposium. When you look at the topic of my presentation, you may wonder how can it link between the science and arts of tsunami to the aquaculture development. I hope that I can walk you through my presentation. I'd like to begin with the message from the UN Secretary General, Mr. Ban Ki-moon, that we cannot eliminate disaster, but we can mitigate risks, we can reduce damage, and we can save more lives. With this sentence, many people may think, what are the key in order to mitigate the disaster? It cannot be eliminate them. So let's think about it, and then we will find out what are the key message of Secretary General. I choose the issue of tsunami because I used to work with the Thai government to establish the Tsunami Warning Center after the Indian Ocean tsunami in 2004. And I think that Japan is also experienced and leading the issues. I believe that everyone here knows about tsunami. No need to explain it. But of course, commonly tsunami that we are facing with due to the generation of the waves, due to the displacement of the water. We have other causes of tsunami as well. I think that not to mention about that. I like to focus on the 2004 tsunami, which happened due to the earthquake in the sea. The magnitude may be vary as from the reference. Most reference say 9.1. I put 9.3 Richter in the northwest of Sumatra, Indonesia, that generate a dangerous tsunami on the Boxing Day, 26 December 2004. This show the energy dissipate from the Sumatra up to the Nicobar Island, which make a big tsunami throughout the Indian Ocean. You must be familiar with this, and this showing by the Asia et al. 2005. And this is the mechanism in which the wave was generated and the tsunami wave travel. As you know, when tsunami come to the shore, it become larger in size and provide the destructive force. On the 26th December in Thailand, more than 8,000 people died, and including the foreign tourists from 38 countries. I'd like to thank Japan government for supporting during that period. And we do not want to have this kind of things happen anywhere in the world. So we need to do something. Anyway, in 2011, Japan also got one in Sendai. This is the key message I like to give to you. You don't know what you need to know until you know it. I think that people who really study about tsunami have already sent a warning message to many countries in this region. But nobody knows what is tsunami. And until it comes to the time when the tsunami comes and it's too late. You have no preparation, you have no early warning, you have no cooperation. So it causes casualties. And the statistic, almost 300,000 people died from 17 countries. So people ask for help in order to how can we prevent for the next disaster. And the IOC UNESCO was credentialed as an organization to coordinate with countries in the Indian Ocean to establish the tsunami, the regional tsunami warning system. To date, there are 4 systems, as you can see from this picture. The Pacific Ocean, the Caribbean, the Northeast Atlantic, Mediterranean, and the Indian Oceans. In fact, when I mentioned about you don't know what you need to know until you know it, the tsunami early warning has been established 55 years before 2004. But why? Why people did not know about it? And to develop any kind of preparation, that is the question as well. Now we have this 4 system developed, but of course in certain region the system has not yet fully functioned, like even though in the Mediterranean they're still working on it. After the tsunami, IOC has established 6 working groups to work on. First one is the seismic network, which detect the earthquake. The sea level monitoring network, the risk assessment, modeling, mitigation preparedness response, interoperability, and regional tsunami early warning center. The number 6 one is the one that they are aiming at to establish Indian Ocean Tsunami Warning Center. In the Pacific Ocean, there are already Alaska, Hawaii, and Japan Meteorological Agency. And these are activities involving communities and government officers after the tsunami that I have been involved with. This schematic diagram showing the whole system of the tsunami alert rapid notification system from the decision maker to the community level. And the important message here is that how can we provide the early warning message to be understandable by communities and be able to receive feedback from community that they understand, they are able to help themselves. And this is what we want to. This is the tsunami alert rapid notification system that communicate from the warning center down to the community, and we have some kind of exercise, tabletop and the full-scale exercise in order to make people understand their roles and responsibility. It's also supported by the USDA, United States Development Trade Agency, to establish the decision support platform in order to be able to provide message. In fact, at that time, I also request assistance from JMA, and the JMA support scientists to come to Thailand and help providing knowledge so that Thailand can establish their own standard operating procedure. The USA donated the Deep Ocean Assessment Reporting of tsunami or DART to deploy in the high sea. I went with this mission 5 days and successfully deployed. I'd like to mention about the adaptive management, because during the period of early warning system development, the IOC came and assessed the ability of 17 countries in the ocean on how they could manage the disaster early warning effectively. And one of the gaps that we found is the communication gap between the decision to provide information to the community. And so the adaptive management or learning by doing is important. And this is well known in Japan. When Japan educate people to understand the threat, understand the disaster, be able to help themselves in the critical time. And this is what we like to know, the knowledge is power. The Child of the Year, Tilly Smith, she was in Phuket at that time with her family. She's just 10 years. And on the beach, when she saw the water recede, she told her mother and father that she just learned about tsunami from her geography class 2 weeks ago before she came to Thailand. And this is definitely tsunami, run away. Yes, her father is the one who told the security to move some 100 people on the high ground and save people. So this is kind of something simple that even 10 years old child can help. I'd like to show you the line of command in Thailand, that when the decision made about early warning, it's sent through the government function level, from the governor, this civil defense in the province, to the head of the district, to the volunteer, to the mayor, head of sub-district, and many villages along the coast. And there are about 10 ministries, 20 interagency departments. This is just one that I want to show you, the major organization responsible for the early warning system in Thailand. And this can be shown to you that why it's so difficult. Because the line of command stop at the sub-district level, because you have to reach a large number of people along the coast. And these people cannot communicate with them. There are too many of them. And this remain the gaps. Even though you send a message to them, they cannot communicate well. And this is to show you the picture of some 7,000 sub-districts, 72,000 villages in Thailand. So I think this is not only tsunami problem, but also other science problem, how you communicate with people. And these are some kind of tools that help to understand how can you move away from the disaster, the evacuation map, and so on. Some kind of evacuation drill exercise that prepare in advance at the school community level. They have their plan, and this JICA has supported this learning at school. I remember I worked with the Thai government, and I found that JICA also support field school in order to learn about tsunami. And this is also another point. The mistake of the past are not uselessly buried in the sand, but studied so that they become lesson learned. Charles Fingal. So once you learn from this disaster, you need to be prepared, and you need to have your own preparation. Now I would like to connect you to my organization, NACA, or Network of Aquaculture Centers in Asia Pacific. The first part is the tsunami science, early warning and mitigation system. Now I'd like to mention about my organization, and then we will discuss a little bit about how we apply that first part into aquaculture development. NACA is an intergovernmental organization established in 1990. We celebrate 25 years to be this year, but we will celebrate next year. And the role is to improve livelihood of rural people, reduce poverty, increase food security. We have 19 member governments. And as you know, the aquaculture in Asia Pacific is about 90%. And about 50% global food fish supplies. Some outlook of the aquaculture already addressed by Dr. Soto. At the moment, the world aquaculture production is 66 million. And in ASEAN countries, 17 million. In Asia Pacific, 58 million. And you can see that China dominates 41 million. And the global demand on food from aquaculture and aquatic food is driving by population growth, poverty, and well, I said poverty also because there's still 800 million people under nutrition. And this is a location of our member government, from Australia to Vietnam. We do not have Japan. We don't have two countries in ASEAN, which are Singapore and Brunei. But we look forward for future cooperation. You don't need to be, Japan does not need to be member, but they can cooperate with NACA in order to work on future development. And the governance of the organization is through the Council of 19 government with the Technical Advisory Committee, with experts around the world and network of center. Today we have 5 regional lead centers, including the Philippines. CIPEC is one of our regional lead centers. We also have in China, in India, Iran, and Thailand. This is the current governing council. In 2015, the chairperson is from Indonesia this year, Director General of Aquaculture, Dr. Slamet Sobjakto, and we have others people. Next year, Thailand will be the chairperson. I already mentioned about the regional lead center. We have 5 at the moment. And this center has role to play because they have a specialization in aquaculture that can provide capability for participants from this country. So will be the knowledge, learning, and sharing of experience and technology. NACA worked through the 8 programs. The 5 thematic programs include aquatic animal health, sustainable farming system, food safety, quality and certification, genetics and biodiversity, respond to climate change, and 3 cross-cutting programs, namely education, training, gender, and information and communication. This is a SWOT analysis table. I did this last year, trying to show you the strength, weakness, and threats to aquaculture in Asia Pacific, and see that there are opportunities for NACA and partners to do some work in order to improve and to increase the aquaculture for human consumption. I will not go through this SWOT table. I think that this presentation will be provided to everyone. And then the strategic foresights for the next 5 years and beyond has been proposed. The first one is adaptive management for small-scale rural aquaculture development for poverty reduction. We will put the focus on how we make aquaculture sustainable. the culture-based fishery, promote role of women and youth in aquaculture, and learning in sustainable aquaculture best practice for small-scale shrimp farm. Second, we will put focus on the emergency rapid appraisal of amplification of shrimp disease by inbreeding, improve communication between NACA and its member countries, capacity building program in aquaculture governance. When we talk about governance, and Dr. Soto mentioned, I like to say that our governance means something, decision-making process, that we don't talk only decision by government, but decision by stakeholders together. We may have kind of legal framework, many legal framework, but how can we understand holistic picture of this legal framework, be able to manage aquaculture, which is a complex system, be able to set up policy in order to develop aquaculture in a sustainable way. So that will be required to provide the aquaculture governance training, and I hope that we could begin this kind of syllabus design by next year, and look forward to funding agency to work with us to identify the modules and bring experience from different countries to organize this. The next one is the mitigation and adaptation of impact of climate change in aquaculture and fishery. We are working with FAO at the moment, and we hope that we could organize a global climate change adaptation conference next year in Bangkok. We'll be in Bangkok. And the last one is to strengthen cooperation and coordination among member country agencies, partners, South-South cooperation, public-private partnership. And I propose that we could establish a similar working group like the tsunami system. The first one, aquaculture information and statistics. The second group, network of aquaculture farms. The third one, aquaculture farm model, innovative technology for sustainable aquaculture. Risk assessment, mitigation preparedness response plan on natural disaster and climate change, interoperability and regional aquaculture information standard and governance training centers. And this is opportunity to bring experts from different countries to work on this subject and be able to tell each country about the gaps that they need to fill in. They need to bridge the gaps and be able to improve capability of each country. As you can see that we have both countries that need to be developed, countries that already advanced in technology, but we share common resources. We share common water, common lands, and that's necessary for us to work together. And I think that tsunami science and arts use multi-dimension, multi-level cooperation in order to come up with the establishment of a working standard for people to save people's life. Why aquaculture should do the same? We should work together to bring up an organization or institutional structure that could help working everywhere. And this is a kind that I like to propose. And role of NACA, of course, will be focused on cross-cutting issues like training education, that I propose organization of aquaculture governance training, coordinating aquaculture education with ASEAN Fisheries Society and University. Next year in August, from 4th to the 6th of August, we are going to organize the ASEAN Fishery and Aquaculture Conference and Seafood Exposition in conjunction with the 11th ASEAN Fishery and Aquaculture Forum and Exhibition in Bangkok. We expect about 1,000 people to come, and we have 6 major themes, range from governance to the post-harvest. If you could visit our website, you will be able to see the detailed information, and please register and come to attend this conference. It will be a good conference. We will organize the conference in a way that we will plan in advance. Also, NACA we have role to promote gender equity, and the effective communication is the key that I like to mention. How can we communicate from scientists, from government, from knowledge body, to community, to farmers? I think this is a large gap. CIPEC is doing good work to produce what we call ambassador of aquaculture in everywhere. But this is not enough, because these people will of course work in their countries to bring the knowledge they receive and transmit it to the public. But how can we plan of how to communicate with them in a systematic way? Dr. Soto mentioned about climate change. How can we work between government officer and community to share information? And I think this is not easy question. It needs some kind of pilot study, need to generate a model of communication which varies in different countries. And this is also the key why tsunami early warning mitigation system is so important to communicate with people like in Japan. But since Sendai is beyond that, because it's beyond the expectation. You have so large earthquake. But of course, we need to take into account uncertainty and something we did not expect to happen. Aquaculture also deal with many issues, mentioned environment, issue of nutrition, and that dealing with people's life, security, and also peace. In order to have a child born in a conflict area, don't have enough food, and so on. So this kind of thing, when we look at, we should plan systematically, and I think that we have to work together to be in that position in order to make food security, food safety for everyone. So I think I'd like to end my presentation.